Welcome to this Sahara 4 exercise. In this exercise, we will review the report that was created after the calculation of the pore volume of the flow elements in the previous exercise. We could see that for some reason, some of the flow elements we couldn't calculate that pore volume, so we will now review why that happened. So first, let's open our Sahara project. As we can see here, we will reviewing the results of the pore volume report, of the pore volume calculation, sorry, where we saw that the pore volume was actually calculated for most of the flow elements without any issue. But now let's open the report, and here we have it. First, the report informs us that we did calculate it correctly for 1057 flow elements without any issue, but there are a number of layers where we didn't have any pore volume data, which is okay because we created these layers manually just as an example, and some of them are formations, and this is the field level, so we don't have any pore volume for the field level. That's okay. So all these warnings here, we can ignore them safely. There is no issue here. But here we do have um, two different issues. First, in layer 25, we see that the we couldn't calculate the any pore volume for the flow elements coming from the injector D6, and here we couldn't calculate any as well any flow element for 29. So let's first review 29, which is the most simple case. Here, if we click on 29, we can see that there is no. Let's open the map and the pore volume. There is no pore volume, but also there are no flow elements in the history of the project. So this means that this layer was never injected. Probably this layer is quite that for some reason it doesn't have enough net thickness, or it doesn't have saturation of oil, and this layer was never open nor never injected. So we can safely say that it is okay that we don't have any calculation on this layer, so we can dismiss this last warning. But still, we need to see what's happening on 25. So let's see first the dates. We can see that the dates in 2005 and the layer 25. So let's go to layer 25, and here we have the pore volume map selected, and here we can check the evolution over time of the flow elements. We can see that indeed we don't have any pore volume in this area, so that's why the pore volume calculated is 0 in all cases for all the dates. So we need to review why this is happening. Let's remember the definition of pore volume. If we go to variables, pore volume, the pore volume from petrophysical data is calculated as the porosity for the multiplied by the net thickness. So let's review those maps. Porosity we are missing, and net thickness we do have some data on net thickness here, but we don't have any porosity. So the problem is that we don't have a porosity map in this area. That's why the report is telling us that we cannot calculate this pore volume here. We lack porosity. So if we remember this porosity map back in like 20 exercises ago or so, when we were doing the first mapping calculations, this porosity map was calculated coming from the petrophysical data, but we can review it here. Petrophysical data. Let's review the petrophysical data for the layer by data type, porosity, and let's review everything in the layer 25 where the problem is occurring, and let's review it for all the wells. So as we can see, we do have some data, but we had well 65, 50 and 52, 65, 50 and 52, and D6 we don't have. D6 is the injector, so we don't have any petrophysical porosity data in this well. 65, 50. We can see as well that we don't have any for the producers as well. We can review with bubbles, maybe it will be quicker, but as you can see here in the table with petrophysical data, we don't have any porosity data. We will review it with the bubbles as well. So let's select bubbles, let's select porosity. It's selected already, so let's review it We have bubbles, simple, transparency. Let's review. Let's create automatic scale, and here it seems that we don't have any porosity. I will review the scale if I increase it. Bubble, simple, uniform, less linear, offset, all. There it is. So we can see, I will put it back to automatic here. Manual, but a little bit bigger. Here we can see, I will close the map for a moment. So we can see here that all this green data that we have here is showing us that we have porosity data for all these wells at the petrophysical data level, but here we don't have any. So that means that the mapping couldn't be performed on the north of the project for this layer because we don't have any petrophysical data of porosity loaded. So to solve this issue, what you can do is either you can calculate or add new porosity data to these wells that will allow us to calculate it coming for petrophysical data in the options of the flow elements, or we can do the whole process and add this petrophysical data, use the mapping tool again to create a new map of porosity here, use that map to create the pore volume map as well, and with that pore volume map create the new pore volume for these flow elements. But the issue overall is that we don't have any porosity loaded here in these wells at the north. D65, D50, D52, and D6. So that should be remediated to ensure that we can keep working with this in this layer. So that will be everything for this tutorial, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.